Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the craziest season of fantasy football ever, and we're smack dead in the middle of it. This marks the midpoint of this season. We're going to just try to survive, stay afloat, rack up some W's, hopefully make playoffs. These are my waiver wire pickups for week 9 of fantasy football. Let's start off with the bye weeks. Niners, Broncos, Jaguars, and Lions. Those 4 teams are on bye. Moving on to the quarterbacks to add, and I have them ranked. Did you know that about half the league is starting a backup quarterback right now? It's absolutely crazy. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. So number 1, I have Sam Howell, who's not an ideal start this week per se. I think I may rather go with Derek Carr. Jordan Love's kind of been struggling to put up points. He's an okay start this week as well. I mean, I like him, just not trustworthy. But Sam Howell pretty much to me is a must pickup. A good start long term, and even though he's facing a decent defense, I think it's a good start this week anyway. And one big reason I have Sam Howell number 1, other than it's obvious, like he's good, he's kind of crushing it. He's leading a lot of weeks in passing yards and so forth. He's just absolutely torching it, throwing the ball all over the place, being a gunslinger, getting a couple rushing yards here and there as well. It's because the Commanders just traded away 2 important players on their defense. Montez Sweat and Chase Young both got traded. That means that their defense is going to suck even more. They're going to have to rely on the quarterback and the passing game even more to just stay in games. Like, I think their season's pretty much over as far as talking about winning a Super Bowl or going deep in the playoffs or anything like that. I mean, you know, it's probably the best move for them long term. A little bit surprising they got rid of both those guys, but it is what it is. We're not worried about that. Other than those 3 guys, we got Kyler Murray, who's probably not coming back this week, but could very likely come back week 10. As of right now, Clayton Tune is expected to be the starter for the Cardinals. Will Levis, I think he is good. I think he will be good. I think a little bit overreaction on how good he actually was. Falcons defense just, I don't know, man. They're overall pretty disappointing team, and as of lately, pretty disappointing franchise as well. I just don't know what's up there. The Steelers always make big plays on defense. They're always getting fantasy points, always forcing turnovers. And I think this could be a very good opportunistic game for the Steelers to do something. But again, a good test for Will Levis. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Again, I don't hate him or anything. I just think let's kind of curb expectations and blame the Falcons defense for a lot of Will Levis looking great this past week. I don't want to take too much away from Levis, but just like we see players go off against the Raiders, like a lot of it is due to the Raiders defense a lot of times. Remember when Baker Mayfield had like one or 2 days to prepare and won the game for the Rams? Like, that was against the Raiders. So anyway, not to digress, Gardner Minshew's the starter for the Colts rest of the year. Joshua Dobbs got traded to the Vikings. He won't start this week, but I assume he will be the starter for the remainder of the year, starting week 10. Daniel Jones is expected to be back, not black. He's expected to be back and face the Raiders. Doesn't have a lot of weapons to throw to, unfortunately, but hey, this guy, we've seen him get some rushing yards, so that may help you in fantasy. Mac Jones, this was just crushing. Kendrick Bourne on IR. That's just horrible. The number 1 option in the pass game. So now we saw Mac Jones like, hey, this guy might not suck this year. Then he loses Kendrick Bourne. So I think he will suck this year. But again, he's facing the Commanders, who just traded away 2 defensive players. So let's see what's up. Again, most of these guys won't be like really important, but I just wanted to name off these quarterbacks. If you're in a super flex league, these will be relevant. Deshaun Watson's not playing yet. I don't know if he'll be back this week. I don't know what's going on there. Lots of controversy. Clayton Tune is expected to start this week for the Cardinals, and probably the week after we'll see Kyler Murray. Taylor Heineke's not the starter. Oh, no, we just want to make sure Desmond Ridder is healthy. Who doesn't hate Arthur Smith, the head coach for the Falcons? Raise your hand if you don't hate him, if you're not annoyed by his antics. Anyway, I don't know what's going on there in Atlanta. I think Taylor Heineke will start and should start, but that's more of a guess. I'm basing that off nothing. We'll see what actually happens. Desmond Ridder's supposedly the starter if he's fully healthy. Mitch Trubisky might start this week, but probably not. Kenny Pickett is expected to start, and that's Thursday Night Football, by the way, against the Titans. So one reason why Kenny Pickett might not be available in time, because that game's coming up here in a few hours, basically. Jaron Hall expected to start this week for the Vikings, and then there's a small chance that Matt Stafford doesn't play this week. He is day-to-day, so maybe Brett Ripien starts for the Rams. I don't know. Some of those guys I just listed, even if you're in Superflex, you're probably better off starting a wide receiver or running back in Superflex over some of those guys. Oof. For running backs, we got Chuba Hubbard, who's likely already rostered in your league. I know that, okay? No need to hate in the comments. I know that. But, hey, some people are in a 10-team league. Maybe he's available. I'm just going to go down the list. Amari DeMarcado, starting running back for the Cardinals. Zach Charbonnet looking better and better every week. Ken Walker still the guy, don't get it twisted. But if he were to go down, or maybe just off a fluke game where the Seahawks have a lead or something, Charbonnet could score a rushing touchdown, something like that. So Charbonnet, I think he should be rostered in pretty much every 12-team league. Not started. He's not startable as of yet, but I've seen enough for him to be like, hey, this is at the very least a very good handcuff in fantasy football. Leonard Fournette, welcome to the Buffalo Bills. Kenny Gainwell, nothing more really than a handcuff as well, kind of like Charbonnet. Royce Freeman's getting some touches there behind Darrell Henderson for the Rams. Cam Akers, Devin Singletary, Jamal Williams, and Pierre Strong. Those last few guys I listed are gross. For wide receivers, we actually have really good wide receivers here. We got JSN, who I've always had faith in and said, look, he'll probably be better after the bye week. And he's been looking great. Unfortunately, DK Metcalf not looking as great as he was. But JSN's looking awesome. Tyler Boyd looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit better than T. Higgins some games. But look, all it is really Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback, and he's back to his elite status. And therefore, the three guys running routes for him, Boyd, Chase, and Higgins, all three are startable. That's just the way it goes because Joe Burrow's that good. Now we got Demario Douglas. Now, this Patriots offense is a bit confusing. I'm not going to just sit here and tell you like I know what's going on exactly. I know what's going to happen. But this is my guess for the guy to kind of be like getting the most targets a lot of games, being a good slot receiver, moving the chains. This type of guy here, Demario Douglas, the rookie wide receiver for the Patriots. He was one of my sleepers in Dynasty on my taxi squad. So I think he's going to benefit the most. Then again, it is the Patriots. We might see like a huge Mike Gesicki game or some random receiver or something like that. Something might happen. I don't know, but as of right now, he'd probably be the guy I'd want to roster out of the Patriots as far as pass catchers go. Then we got Jahan Dotson, who I dropped in one league or two leagues. Oh my God, and he is back because Sam Howell's throwing 400 yards a game. Look at these numbers here. Week 7, he got 8 targets. And this past week, week 8, 10 targets. Those are elite target numbers. That's something that you definitely have to note. And, man, that could mean a lot of fantasy points for your fantasy team. Rashid Shaheed, I was a bit of a hater, a bit of a doubter on him. He doesn't get a lot of targets, but he's actually really good. He does produce, and for a guy like him who's essentially just like a deep threat who's going to get 3 or 4 opportunities, he's actually been remarkably surprisingly good. So Rashid Shaheed could be worth an add. I still have faith in Michael Wilson for sure, a little bit of a sleeper. And look, this week with Clayton Tune, do we want to start him? not a chance. But when Kyler Murray comes back, that should be an upgrade over what the Cardinals had at the quarterback position. And then we had Quentin Johnston. I started him. He did nothing. And then I only have him like in one league, so don't make fun of me too much, okay? You guys know I didn't like him in Dynasty. And now we bench him, and he gets 10 points. It is the way it is. But he's getting a lot more targets, and he's really learning. I guess he was way more raw than we thought. I guess he has a lot to learn, like a lot. But he is learning every week, and he's going to get opportunities. We all know that the Los Angeles Chargers are cursed, and they're going to suffer a lot of injuries, and they are suffering a lot this year. And then we got Treylon Burks. I know he did nothing, but now with Will Levis, this could fit his game. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is going to run deep routes and get wide open every game. That's going to be a little bit more of the Treylon Burks characteristics right there. So we'll see what Treylon Burks does. He's nothing more than a deep roster stash, though. As far as tight ends, I have some quality, a lot of quantity, which you should be thankful for, because this is probably the best position we have to add. I guess it just keeps getting better and better. Quarterback was pretty messy. Running back was, realistically nothing much there. Wide receivers, we had some, and now we have a lot of tight ends. Obviously, Dalton Kincaid is rostered in your league, but he's only rostered like in 70-80% of leagues. Just wanted to put it there. Again, reiterate, maybe flex a little bit on my part that I told you he was a must-add last week. Basically a must-start. I told everybody to add him. Even if you had a tight end like Kittle, go add him. Everybody listened to me. Everybody was very happy with that. So in case you missed the memo, go and add him for sure. Trey McBride, same deal, guys. You have to add him with Zach Ertz injured. So those top two guys are must-adds. I don't know what's up with Taysom Hill. I personally had bad luck with him, but he is producing at a high level, so he's definitely on this list. Borderline must-add. It's like, if you're in a league where Taysom Hill is available, that's kind of a silly league. I just don't think that's a real league. Unless it's a platform where Taysom Hill is a quarterback, or it's like an 8-team league or something like that. Logan Thomas, a good add. We know that the Commanders are going to throw the ball a lot. Jake Ferguson, also a good add. So if you need a tight end, like these top 5 guys are going to be really good. David Njoku, he's proven me wrong a little bit. I think after he burnt off his face, something clicked. And I can't help but to root for him, man. It's like an awesome story. Even though you might say okay, not a big deal, like that. I think it was kind of a big deal, but I'm more interested in the story of he's kind of trying to help people that have been burned, and it's just he's really motivated and he's playing hard and it's looking good, and it's hard to hate on a guy, not root for him. So proud of David Njoku. Not really an ideal start, but at the same time, if you're desperate for a tight end, I think he's a pretty good start. If you can't get any of those guys, go get Dalton Schultz, Tyler Higbee, Donald Parham, only if Gerald Everett is out. He did miss week 8. Hunter Henry for the Patriots, Mike Gesicki. These guys are going to have to step it up and then likely get more targets with Kendrick Bourne out. Chig Okonkwo, Cade Otton, Daniel Bellinger now becomes kind of fantasy relevant with Darren Waller injured. And I was telling people to trade away Darren Waller for cheap, just sell him. And this is what I was worried about. He's had hamstring issues for several years. He's a little bit older. Once I heard about the nerve hamstring injury, I was like, look, guys, sell him immediately. Thank you to Fantasy Docs for that advice on Instagram. And now Daniel Bellinger, who's actually pretty talented tight end. Not the best pass-catching tight end per se. That was definitely Darren Waller's job. He was definitely just like a tall, big receiver, kind of like Jimmy Graham. But we don't know for sure if Darren Waller's going to be out, but I do expect him to miss multiple weeks. Just a kind of a guess. I don't see them rushing him back, especially with that type of injury history. And also Pat Freiermuth coming back soon from IR, hopefully, and Greg Dulcich coming back soon from IR, hopefully, as well. Now, yeah, the list just keeps getting better and better. We have a ton of good defenses to pick up. Now, I would highly recommend these top 4. Yeah, 3 or 4, right around there. That's going to be the, like, elite kind of status here. These top 3 or 4 are going to be really good. We got the Browns D going against the Cardinals. If Clayton Tune's starting, that's an elite defense to start. Probably be the best defense to start. Falcons D going against the Vikings. And I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to play, or he's not going to really be acclimated. So, although I hate the Falcons D, they hurt my feelings. I had to start them in one league. I wasn't happy about it, but I do trust them a lot more. Like, the trust isn't that strong, but I'm saying, like, I feel more comfortable starting them this week than I did last week. And that goes to say quite a bit. I think that's a pretty strong statement coming from me. Then we got the Saints D going against the Bears. That's a pretty good matchup. Saints are heavily favorited. We got the Steelers D going against the Titans. Already talked about them a bit. They force a lot of turnovers, make big plays, and that's actually how you get a lot of fantasy points. QB pressures, big plays, fumbles, picks. That's what we want. Then the potential for a defensive touchdown, which Steelers are really good at, man. If you can't get any of those guys, go look for the Patriots D, Raiders D. If Daniel Jones doesn't play, I really like them. If Daniel Jones does play, they're just meh. Now, Daniel Jones will probably play, but here's the thing, man. If Daniel Jones is out, which we're not 100% sure he's going to play, they're down to their third-string quarterback, who's like this guy named Danny DeVito or something. I know that's not his name, but that's what I'm going to call him. He's good for throwing negative passing yards. So I do like the Raiders D. If Daniel Jones does play, I'm not too comfortable starting the Raiders D, because the Raiders suck. They're a joke. Chargers D going against the Jets in what could be a low-scoring game. Or at least the Jets may not score too many points. We got the Texans D going against the Bucks. Titans D going against the Steelers in a pretty much guaranteed to be a low-scoring game. I don't think the Steelers' offense will put up a lot of points. We talked about Kenny Pickett. He'll probably be able to play Thursday, but we'll see. Packers D going against the Rams only if Stafford is out. And then we got the Cardinals D going against the Browns. Should be a low-scoring game. Colts D going against the Panthers. Panthers offense doesn't do too much. Giants D going against the Raiders. Bucks D going against the Texans. Jets D. Panthers D, Commanders D. I know that's a long list, but I did want to exhaust it just in case you're in a deep league and needed another option. For kickers, it's going to be kind of like the defenses. I think the top 4 are elite. These are the top 4 that you want. It was very hard to rank these, but again, I really like a lot of these names, so it should be good no matter what you do, as long as you get a guy off this list. Now, Dustin Hopkins, of course, people don't know what they're doing, so they pick up Dustin Hopkins. They see he's like a top 2 kicker. They pick him up. He does well, but, he wasn't the best pickup. He wasn't really on my list at all last week. So just in case somebody drops him, you can pick him up, because this week he is elite going against the Cardinals. Don't worry if you don't get him. Go get Younghoe Koo going against the Vikings. I love this matchup here. And then we got Evan McPherson. That's a pretty good matchup as well. And if you can't get those guys, Blake Grupe is actually pretty good going against the Bears. So I like these 4 kickers quite a bit. If you can't get any of those 4, go get Jason Sanders in the shootout. Tyler Bass, hopefully he's fixed his accuracy issues. He made all his kicks this past week for a change. Matt Gay, he should have a bounce-back game. Jake Elliott, Brandon Aubrey, Keami Fairbairn, who's just okay and pretty good no matter what the matchup is. Or Graham Gano, and again, I rank Graham Gano so low because this is not a team that moves the ball well. It's not ideal, but going against the Raiders with Daniel Jones back, that couldn't. It's not too bad, not too bad. But again, like he is ranked last on my list of kickers to add. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. Oops, clicked on the wrong thing. That's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you guys like the video, drop a comment if you have any questions. I read every single comment. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, Hack My Lineup live stream.